I thought about this for a bit, and I've obviously touched on it more than once, just lightly. But I'm gonna put this in volume 3, History of Propaganda, and it's gonna be body image issues. That's what I'm gonna do it. Correlated to body dysmorphia, and the cosmetic and fitness, and even nutrition and fashion, right? These four, the fourfold root of the devil's reason, right? Let's put it like that, because the devil's in the details, and it's all about attractiveness, right? But only the image of attractiveness, only the perception, only the sexy is the goal. Getting into correlations to body dressing, and how we've always in every culture addressed ourselves in strata of status, socioeconomic status, we'll put it like that, or in part of the hierarchies. So the more fancy the accoutrement, the clothes, the higher the status. But with the advancing machine of capitalism, the bad side of capitalism anyway, and globalism, all these things being correlated to each other, absolutely, by creating the self-doubt and this absence, this emptiness, abscess and emptiness inside the person's emotions and identity, that which strives for the machine that you can buy this image, you can be that lifestyle, you can be that brand and be of higher status. And I'm looking at this. For me, this started with at least my criticism of it is, obviously my family, we didn't grow up with very much. As soon as I got to high school, as I've mentioned in other videos early on, I was introduced to, Adbusters. And that was a great influence. The magazine has been a great influence upon my psyche and how I address the corporate world altogether, because the corporation is a psychopath. It doesn't care. The organization does not give a shit about you as a person. It does not. Under the eyes of the law, it's a person, but an actual human being, let's say, go even further, a sovereign citizen, is a monster by definition, and has to be proven to be a real individual. So somewhere, I can't tell you where along the lines that the definitions changed from a natural, actualized, God-given rights, right, to privileges that can be revoked at the snap of a finger. And this uncommercial from 10 years ago, the beauty industry is the beast, and it's only 30 seconds long, so I'm gonna play it now, and then I'll get into this, because admittedly I've suffered from body image issues in the past. I never measured up to this idealism and this image that is put out there and communicated by fashion and by commercialism, the cosmetics and the nutrition, even because I'm thinking about protein supplements and bodybuilding, all this stuff, and not everyone fits that image. We look at models, and they're the outliers, right? They're the minority, and let's play this. You can watch this on your own, see the imagery, but I'm gonna play this for audio's sake.
Obsession. Why are 9 out of 10 women dissatisfied with some aspect of their own bodies? The beauty industry is the beast.
Simple as that, right? So obviously that's implicating bulimia or what's the other one? Anorexia, right? And especially if you're not a popular person, you know, within grade school or in high school, right? Those being the microcosm of humanity, at least in North America and in Europe, or other places where there's formalized education, and there's also this highly competitive nature that's inherent to the missing pieces that I didn't have before. You know, the dominance hierarchy, or the perceived fertility, and the rushing hormones, the changes that happen during your teenage years. The blossoming of the adult, in which the things that you learn and the things that you digest, right? This is garbage in, garbage out sort of thing. There's always a principle that governed many conservative Christian households in the 1980s and 1990s. That for which I'm a part of, right? I grew up as Pentecostal, and attended church for most of my young life. And now I have a different relationship. Let's say on my own personal Jesus, right? You're supposed to have a personal relationship, but that's besides the point, right? I'm not interested in going to a church right now. It doesn't. I don't know. I got my issues with that. Nonetheless, moving forward, right? The way that I can relate that to something else would be like the idealization and iconography of Jesus, right? And I'm looking at this thing right now. That's interesting. This guy kind of looks like Jesus. Dali Brovo Ganje. Like a hipster Jesus almost. It's kind of funny because he's got this coffee stain or beer stain around his head, like the halo, right? Signifying enlightenment. Getting into marketing and whatnot, and again, my concerns have been addressed by other media criticisms. So, say like Naomi Klein's No Logo, and I never. The conservative Christianity in those years, and even now still, like, doesn't like, large logos and whatnot, and this free advertising that you give to these brands, just by wearing it, right? Like, I'm wearing a set of Fox shorts, and I love them, right? But I appreciate how small the logo is, right? I'm not using them, and I didn't buy them to broadcast my social status, or to broadcast my virility or my capabilities as a mountain biker, right? That's very much what I prefer, and a lot of intelligent people are the same way. It's just like that, right? You look at billionaires. Young billionaires, tech billionaires, and what do they wear? They wear a t-shirt, plain t-shirt and a pair of shorts. Because especially nerds, right, or academics, the highly intelligent people don't give a shit about how they look, right? They're too preoccupied with thinking, right, and being upstairs, so to speak, right? The higher limbic system, and trying to figure out and organize abstract thoughts that then they can put into a piece of work. And I think about the abstractions, of our images. Again, this having to do with propaganda and marketing, the two of them being very closely, hand in hand, right? One as propaganda is weaponized artwork, and marketing is propaganda light, right? So it's this primarily a non-verbal communication of what this company represents, right? And hence why it was just very interesting. The advertising has a lot of military terminology within it, so that furthers the point, in my opinion. If you put two and two together, how closely related the two are to each other. Psychological warfare and marketing. And this I'm going to cite to go even further down the rabbit hole, Michael Jones and the culture wars. All of these things are absolutely essential to understand where we're at right now and where we've come from, because of the encroaching monster that is nepotistic communism, right? Anarchistic communism, or this commune mentality from which the Communist Manifesto has been the classic argument. Oh, there's never been any true communism. But when communism is used on such a large scale, that it always fails, because everybody wants something different. Everybody has different goals, hopes, and dreams. And we all hope and dream to and aspire to be like celebrities and models, right? These are the most beautiful people. And I love Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People. It's a good song, and it's very much an aggressive song and it's an assault upon body image standards, because if you remember, Marilyn Manson was, again, conservative Christian growing up, if I remember correctly, and he dressed up like a transgender, a transvestite. He didn't use that terminology at the time, because the gender language didn't come into the fore until fuck if I care, like 15, 20 years ago, right? This demoralization campaign, again, on purpose to make people feel inadequate, so that you can have that instant gratification upon buying something with retail therapy, right? So let's go into this is off of Google, naturally. Like the first results, poor body image is not just a female issue. Many men are also dissatisfied with their body image. Poor body image in men can be linked to dieting, excessive exercising, eating disorders, and steroid misuse. And I remember when my parents did work for Teen Challenge, and I was around some of these gentlemen, that some of them were there because of steroid abuse and because of methamphetamine abuse. And these two things being linked together in the bodybuilding world, so as to cut fat, right, off the body, and to highlight muscle development. But it's a downward spiral in that respect, because they couldn't get off them, right? They're highly addictive substances. And you think about the after effects of anabolic steroids and how much that changes your personality and mood swings. Same with methamphetamine. These especially through the reward systems that hijack and override the dopamine, serotonin signal pathways, right? Just from what I understand and what I've learned, okay? And this is kind of the same thing. Again, continuous themes with this history of propaganda. I'm correlating to my generation. That which has caused all of these issues, because demoralization by outside influences to erode the pillars of society. Also from within by corporations that have too much power within society and within the culture, which leads to, the decimation and the evisceration of anything that would be considered loving and whole, right? This is what Christianity and other religions have always strive towards, this metaphysical fulfillment and self-satiating prerequisite for existence, right? You're getting into existential dilemmas and depression, right? Because getting further into this, and I'll use a personal example afterwards. I'll just read off of Newport Institute here. So this is Newport Institute. This was published on, let's see. Okay, so anyways. So newportinstitute.com/resources/co-occurring disorders/male body issues. I'll read the first few paragraphs here. Male body image issues don't occur in a vacuum. Mental health conditions and low self-esteem in men are often the root of these unhealthy behaviors and co-occurring disorders. A meta-analysis of 23 studies, mostly involving young males at Western universities, found that male body image issues are significantly associated with anxiety and depression. I can confirm this without confirmation bias, right? Obviously, I had some preconceived knowledge or a priori knowledge to doing this video, having looked into this. So, forgive me for having a bit of preparation or whatever you want to say. Because this goes, I'll read it more because it'll say it just as well as I can. Because young people are particularly focused on their appearance, body dissatisfaction can lead to suicidal thoughts and behaviors and contribute to other underlying mental health conditions. In addition, teen boys who experience bullying due to their appearance may continue to suffer from body dissatisfaction and related issues as they mature into young adults. Male body image issues can be a result of trauma connected with bullying, sexual trauma, or other childhood trauma. So moreover, during the pandemic, isolation and lack of social and physical activities has led to a spike in disordered eating and negative body image issues in men. In a recent survey of 2,000 males in Britain, almost half of the respondents said that their body image issues had impacted their mental health. Furthermore, 58% said the pandemic had negatively affected how they feel about their body, and only a quarter said that they were happy with how they look. 2020 study led by social psychology professor Viren Swamy dug deeper into the link between males affected by negative body image issues and mental health challenges during COVID. The research team found that pandemic-related anxiety and stress was associated with greater desire for muscularity, and anxiety was also associated with body dissatisfaction. They attributed these results to the stereotypical ideas that society continues to hold about how men should act in stressful situations. Specifically, being able to project strength and competence during a crisis are still associated with the collective imagination with body size and muscularity. Now, I would go further and I would state that, this hyper-masculinity or this toxic masculinity is actually gay. It's homosexual, right? It's gay. It's super gay. it is so fucking gay that I don't even want to go to a gym anymore. I really don't. I don't want to have anything to do with that. This hyper obsession, and especially with how YouTube is now, and how other social media is, and I mock this in my other videos, right? I do it on purpose because I'm not an Instagram model, right? But I'm a strong motherfucker, right? The fact that I can lift, I can put a 35-pound kettlebell above my head, and I can swing it, and I can do close to 100 push-ups. I can do 50 sit-ups. I can do up to 14 chin-ups. Most people don't even get there. They don't, right? And if I'm going to get into a personal anecdote, right, like a lot of my issues had to do with the fact that, rejection from women, honestly, because there's cultural influences that are going on at the same time, and how am I supposed to measure up to these guys, right? And I've done everything I can within my power to make myself as good as I can be, right? As competent, not as strong, not as fierce, or as this preoccupation with being in fighting shape, right? Or being a warrior. This thing that happens, the thing is that train of thought that happens. But the thing is that with military men, just because of female behavior, and because of or any other person that's on the front line, that's a high risk job, high stress job, that there's always this room in the woman's head. I'm don't come at me and don't shoot the messenger on this one. Just okay. That if you consider behavioral psychology or evolutionary psychology, the woman's always looking and testing to see if you have the fortitude and the strength to stick around for the entire gestation of the 9 months plus the first years of vulnerability with the child. That's the end of it, right? There's logical reasons why that behavior exists, but then the abuses happen. Obviously, the abuses happen, and again, highlighting this in other videos and earlier volumes. We don't live in a vacuum, as it's stating, right? The push and the pull between both partners is like the relationship dynamic, right? Women have a lot of power over how men feel. You do. You have a huge amount of power over how we feel. And if you're attacking the man for not being able to perform or whatever, or that he's not bringing home enough, he's not adequate enough, or he's not a good enough parent, or all of these negative, assaults on the person, eventually lead to again, this downward spiral, and then the relationship completely implodes. This is toxic femininity, right? The feminists are always using this toxic masculinity, but toxic masculinity is gay. Okay, it's this projection of this expectation. Because the idea and idealism of straight men and what it used to be, say like the cowboy, the Marlboro man, which is the classic example. And obviously I'm wearing this Western themed styled t-shirt, button-up shirt right now that I've had for years. Quality lasts. There's no point in replacing it. And again, all this fast fashion and this expectation, this keeping up of appearances, the trying to, and even now I see male cosmetics, right? And another anecdote was that, again, there's not to paint myself into a corner, but my mother, she did Mary Kay in her younger years, right? When we were kids, and I was around for these makeup parties and whatever. I was, because I was the youngest, the same my middle sister, right? When we were like 4 or 5 years old, it didn't matter. You're just kids. You're just hanging around. And that was you know, the direct sales, marketing, you know, the female community, and you know, there's other implications there, which I'll let you fill in the blanks, all things considered, but non-existent with my experience or perception. So, you know, again, this hypersexuality, this concentration of either hyperfemininity or hypermasculinity, which, you know, the preoccupation, the obsessive compulsiveness that's involved with it too, like the pruning and the preening, and you know, the over preening or over grooming is actually a sign of anxiety and, you know, as it's saying, depression. Because if you look at the animal behavior of high activity animals, so I'm thinking about like parrots and birds, right? And they'll start to harm themselves when they're not getting enough attention, or they don't have enough exercise, right? And the hyperstimulation aspect, you know, again, correlated to other videos. If you're watching and you get this far, you know, congratulations, you're not stupid. Let's see. Let's see. You know, okay, the hyper fixation on it, you know, is self-destructive. Right? It becomes you know, stressful to maintain a high standard, especially as an individual person. And you know, this you know, trying to portray yourself. Of course, you're talking about the pursuit and of the attractions in the infatuation stage of mating, right? You know, you're trying to communicate your best self as you see yourself in the mirror. But, you know, again, I look at the marketing, you know, and as I stated, you know, okay, so we're getting, what was it, male makeup, right? And that shit's fucking gay. It's fucking gay. It really is. You know, there's a limitation. And most straight men don't even want to have anything to do with it. You know, it's just what does it do? How is this, you know, unless it's some sort of skin condition, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't even use beard oil, right? I use mustache wax. I don't like, you know, I'm a hippie at heart, let's be honest with you, right? I was a, you know, crust punk for a while. I don't, because I was mad at other people for these same issues, these same reasons. You know, I don't like showering all the time, you know, for environmental reasons, and because of, you know, my skin is very sensitive. I prefer, you know, Castile soap, or at this point, Sukin, or other, you know, non-soap soaps. I don't like, you know, using tweezers or anything like that. I will use a shaver, you know, a Phillips one blade, and you know, a multi-blade razor, right? See here, no neck beard, right? Off the ears, off the collar, you know, the old military standard. That's much preferred. Simplicity is best, right? And I prefer natural products. That's just it. The more intelligent a person is, the more they understand the cause and effect of the causality, right, between the products that we use on our bodies and the, you know, there's no, oh yeah, I don't like stuff with scents, right? I'm very sensitive. You know, it's kind of ironic because, you know, the deviated septum, sometimes it's very, I can't even smell my own body odor, whatever, you know, you know, I use charcoal toothpaste. I use a bamboo toothbrush. You know, these things. You know, all of these preoccupations that we came about to within Western society, right? Because of you get this obsession with, you know, keeping up appearances, and you know, these industries are huge, right? If I had the, if the laws didn't exist, I would probably just walk around in my freaking underwear. I honestly would. A pair of shoes and socks, underwear, fucking have at it, right? Who gives a fuck? Because my body is my body, and then there's a lot of people out there who's like, I don't want to see someone's body, but you're looking at it, right? You're just looking at it with some fancy weaving on it, right? And for a lot of other cultures, this stuff doesn't even exist. Like, look at how long. I think of trousers and when they were invented, and now for the longest time they didn't even have an upper portion. It was just two tubes and a belt, and a loincloth or whatever, right? You think about the history of this stuff and the anthropological implications. And okay, so eating disorders, and I'll be honest with you, I've had issues with eating disorders, and there's been points where I've been very low in depression because of a series, multiple, a succession of rejections. Like, we're talking like hundreds, if not thousands, of rejections by women, in this modern era after dating applications in the past, like, 10 to 12 years. Thousands of rejections. And then even when I'm with the women that I was out with, there's always this expectation that I was not very happy about, or it gets stood up even. I've been stood up more than once, and who hasn't had that happen now? It's very rough. It's very rough because of the narcissism and the continuous carousel. Again, that was brought about by Grindr. That's why I say this body image, this hypermasculinity, this toxic masculinity stuff is fucking gay. It's so gay. That's why I tire of it, and that's why I go after the marketing to that community, because I know there's a lot of men out there that just don't even give a shit. Gay men that don't like that. They're smart. They're not stupid. Right, and then again going into the propaganda by the gay washing and this this overt aggressiveness that I don't appreciate. That's in the culture, and it's every fucking where. Oh, representation and so on and so forth. And like, let's see. And then that the series, those rejections, like I said, women have a lot of power over a man's emotional state, even if he's not really expressing it. The amount of responsibility and the weight of manhood. Okay, let's put it like that, or any conception thereof, is not understood by women, right? Just as much as I don't understand what it is to carry a baby. I don't want to, I don't have an obsession with autogynephilia, I don't have this obsessive compulsive aspect of a personality, that would, I don't have these hyper fixations on these things, because, after a while, like I said, it's too much, too anxiety inducing, right? You just get to a point in your life where you just stop giving so much of a shit. And then you have true self-confidence, true self-awareness, and that in itself is more attractive than any of this, right? All of this eventually becomes a waste of money and waste of time. Because okay, so why did I have issues with it? I'll tell you why. It's because I'm just always looking for these extra stimulations, hot sauce even. And my highest weight, I was 85 pounds. Now there's a lot of men out there that are much higher in weight, much fatter, but they have different body types. And for someone that's like me, they're two different body types, anaerobic, anabolic, something like that. Because I'm more an endurance muscle fiber. Whereas other people are more burst muscle fiber, right? Twitch. I don't know all that stuff. There's people out there that do. So anyways, yeah. So I think that gets into hypertrophy and all these technical words that are really trendy right now. So anyways, it says here, one study found that about a quarter of young adult men reported disorders, eating behaviors related to body dissatisfaction. Males are more likely to struggle with binge eating disorder or avoidant restrictive food intake disorder as opposed to anorexia. Experts say that about a quarter of people with anorexia are men, but they are at higher risk of death due to their reluctance to seek help. You know, because that's the thing, is that it's really embarrassing, right? Because it's not toxic masculinity, right? This idea of toxic masculinity, because I'm gonna hammer this point home. Toxic masculinity is gay. It's gay, right? And other disordered eating behaviors such as purging, fasting, and laxative abuse are almost as common in men as in women, some researchers say. Now, another one would be caffeine abuse and nicotine abuse. Exercise addiction. This is a good one too, right? Bigorexia. I see this on a lot through the social media because, you know, again, it's referencing post-COVID and how, you know, the fitness community on YouTube exploded over that time. And, you know, there used to be, you know, and then, okay, so I might even, you know, implicate CrossFit and, you know, these other fitness trends that I don't ascribe to because, you know, I identify, you know, I like the military ethos. I do, right? I'll do everything you can with almost nothing. I much prefer that. Okay, then you're getting into muscle dysmorphia and obsessive bigorexia. I like this terminology. That's pretty good. Again, then getting male body image and social media, right? Because you know, and that gives you some pointers here. Again, this is from Newport Institute. And then this next one is from onlinelibrary.willy.com. Predictors of muscularity-oriented disordered eating behaviors in U.S. young adults. So this was published on the 20th of June, 2019. You know, and you know, okay, so this does, you know, again, you're talking about childhood traumas and how some men in you know, years ago, you think about my parents' generation. And the greatest generation, so the people that grew up, that were born or experienced the Second World War, had mental health issues, and so they were very hard on their children, very hard, right? And that gets communicated onwards, you know, these different ideas about, you know, and these changing, morphing roles. Between the sexes in the household and in public and private life, right? And after the sexual revolution, and how that, you know, it ruined, you know, let's be honest, you know, the promiscuity ruined a lot of human relationships. Well, obviously, yeah, you put it out into the open, but at the same time, I don't know, man. It's a double-edged sword. There's obviously some unintended consequences. You know, and these are just some of my opinions here. Okay, so objective: to determine predictors of muscularity-oriented disorders, using a longitudinal sample in the United States to examine differences by sex. Cohort data collected from baseline 11 to 18 years old, 1994-95, 7-year follow-up, 18 to 24, 2001-2002. So, you know, this is you know, it's not quite there. the use of the statistics is a bit old in order to, you know, really have a good snapshot. Excuse me. Results. Okay, good sample size, 14,891, including participants. 22% of males and 5% of females reported any muscularity-oriented disordered eating behavior of follow-up in young adulthood. Factors recorded at adolescence that were both prospectively associated with higher odds of muscularity-oriented disordered eating in both sexes, including black race, exercising to gain weight, self-perception of being underweight, lower body mass index Z-score. In addition, participation in weightlifting, rollerblading, roller skating, skateboarding, or bicycling, and alcohol among males and depressive symptoms among females during adolescence were associated with higher odds of muscularity-oriented disordered eating in young adulthood. That's a mouthful, eh? Ugh. Anyways. So the conclusion, let's see, we'll get into the full text here. Oh, I can't. It's behind a paywall. This is from the International Journal of Eating Disorders. So volume 52, issue 12, December 2019. All right, man. Okay, so this next one is from cbc.ca. This was published November 15th, 2018. I'll bookmark this one. 1/3 of eating disorders occur in males, and 28 to 30% of men experience negative body image. Yep. Because, you know, again, you know, the media doesn't represent the common person often enough, and, you know, it doesn't reflect that you know, a healthy body image, or what would be considered a healthy, you know. And by Christian standards, right? My body is my temple, and if you're doing well, you're trying to look after yourself, no matter what the capacity, then all the better for you. So we're looking at, you know, go back to the so they're often associated with women, but also affects men and people who are finally starting to talk about it. Mina Gergis, a 24-year-old Egyptian Canadian, forgive me for not saying that correctly, struggled with how his body looks. He overcame an eating disorder in his late teens and now posts shirtless pictures and videos of himself to open the discussion. So again, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing Shirtless Bro, right? Is because, you know, a long time I had to, you know, because, you know, the social media and, you know, the deluge of rejections, right? Like, if you, after, you know, it doesn't matter how much self-confidence you have, after a while, if everywhere you turn, every woman says no to you, then you're gonna be like, fuck this shit, you know, fuck it. You know, especially when women, you know, think of you as the source of their problems, right, and their antagonisms. They externalize and manifest in their behaviors that which they have issues themselves, right? The projectionism, right? And, you know, again, the closer that you get, more intimate you get in a relationship, the easier it is to hurt someone, you know, intentionally or otherwise. You know, much more careful about your words and much more forgiving, right? So this guy's got 113,000 Instagram followers. Holy shit, man. How do you get that many followers? So hashtag male body positivity. Men don't seek supports. So on and so forth. Okay, good enough. Moving on to Bradley University, male versus female body image. Again, this is all off the first page of Google, you know. Right, so men seem to be more. You know, I'm getting. I think the point has been made here. I'm gonna keep this under 15 minutes. The other one that I'm gonna cite here. The other article is from the Wall Street Journal by Heidi Mitchell. It was published August 14th, 2022. So just after, you know, the tail end of COVID. You know, and you know, I understand, and I actually, you know, I get why they're citing, and you know, obviously having gone through some of this myself, the end of the world scenario, like why I'm just gonna you know, involve myself with hedonism and drink myself or smoke myself to death or whatever, right? And just gonna cut myself off from everything and everyone, and then not be social anymore, be even less social than previously, because I just can't stand other people's politics or how stupid other people are. You know, you gotta seek forgiveness in each other. It doesn't mean you're gonna get it, but that's the end of it. You know, because I'm gonna keep assaulting the propaganda. I'm gonna keep assaulting the marketing for its connotations and its unintended consequences because of this, you know, again, this propaganda, right? I hope and I think that you'll be able to fill in the blanks here and reach your own conclusions, because and I hope it perks more interest in the subject for you. So you know, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up. I'm not looking to get huge myself. I just you know, I do things because I don't want to be you know, 80 years old with osteoporosis and weak muscles. You know, I don't have a family yet. I want a family. I want to be able to play with my kids. My kids. You know, that's the end of it. You know, when I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s. That's more or less what you should be thinking about in your late 30s if you weren't previously active. You know, I want to slaughter people competitively because I know I can. You know, and it's funny because, you know, my testosterone has gone to a point now, if we're going to get into bragging or whatever, that I'm seeing signs of acne again, right? And that proves that with dopamine detox and with, you know, consistent exercise and a good diet, so like ketogenic in my case, and then also using adaptogenics, so lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, and chaga. Those are the tinctures I use, and then a multivitamin on a regular basis, that you can really change your overall mood for the better. You know, it's not like I wasn't doing this stuff before, but now it's actually at the forefront and actually a priority, because, you know, this is related to fertility, right? All this stuff is correlated to fertility. As I said in the beginning of the video, right? We're always striving, no matter what our age, to show a display of power, right? Individual confidence, because confidence is power. It's not, you know, in self-image again. So the positivity aspect here, but you have to do the work. If you don't do the work, it's not going to happen for you. You know, not everyone has the privilege, so to speak, to even bother with such issues, right? And this is very much a Western problem, and then maybe the Asian problem. You know, those cultures looking up to Western society and the luxuries that are that come with, you know, the underlying exploitation of the system. So I'm going to end it there at 50 minutes. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a more positive body image, and you're not suffering from these disorders. Because if you do, please go seek help. I'm just a talking head, right? I'm just a guy on YouTube. And that's it for today.